in our Abuja studio. We have joining us on the program now is Dr. Sam Amadi, a lecturer at Bayes University, a constitutional lawyer, and also Mr. Daniel Buala, a lawyer based in Abuja. Both of them are now with us on the program. Let me quickly come to you, Dr. Amadi. As it stands right now, it seems to be an extraordinary situation that we have in the country, based on the Constitution of Nigeria and standard practice globally. What do you think, legally speaking, that the president, as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, should be doing in intervention on this matter?
Thank you very much. I think first is to say what's the legality of the deployment of soldiers on the streets. First and foremost, the president has part of what we call Section 5 powers of the president, includes the power as the chief executive to maintain the law, maintain security and orderliness. That's number one. The Constitution is very clear. Section 217 and 218 makes it very clear that the president's power to deploy troops are limited. First, external aggression, he would of course need National Assembly resolution. He needs it to protect internal attack against Nigeria. He needs that, and of course that's a clause that's called when in aid of civic authority to suppress insurrection. That word is critical. So in the US, of course, they have it, Article 2 powers of the president. It also includes the power to use limited use of military and civic engagement. And those uses are predicated on one, when to quell real civic disturbance of the nature, calamity, unexpected calamity, and of course, natural disaster, where the National Guard could be at the request of the states. Now, what comes out clearly from all these jurisprudence, including our own Court of Appeal, in the case of, interestingly, Buhari against Obasanjo, the Court of Appeal made it very clear that you cannot even deploy soldiers to do election. Of course, election comes with some perception and, of course, threat of violence. And the Court of Appeal says, no. That must be, that's not one of the things you can use the military for. So, first argument is that, yes, like my colleague has argued, some actions of some persons could be illegal, then the police can handle it. It's facing trial. If there are issues of kidnap, the police says part of the reason, two justifications. One is to do with crime, described as kidnapping, armed robbery, and what they call agitation. Now look at it very well. Kidnapping, armed robbery are those exclusive responsibility of the police under Section 215 of the Constitution. And so the police has mandate to do that. And then if there's a threat to breakdown of law and order, if there is insurrection, riots of this type that the police cannot quench, then the military can come in, because those ones are now threat to national security. So essentially, we have to draw the line and say the agitation, that's the important one. Agitation is constitutionally permitted, like my friend said, under the Constitution. So it does not really amount to insurrection, as the Constitution says. It doesn't amount to quelling civil disturbance, as the American deposit dictatum act of the U.S. puts it, two categories. So essentially, truly, the president meant well, or the chief of army staff or the defense staff meant well, but this is conceivably an unconstitutional deployment of force. The threats that are first kidnapping, armed robbery, of course, Abuja-Kaduna Road perhaps has the highest per capita of kidnapping. Lagos, Evans, and all the stories makes Lagos, everywhere in Nigeria is kidnap prone. So there is really no justification.
All right. Let's look at
for deploying troops to the southeast.
The resolution of some of these issues. And let me come to you, Mr. Buala. In this kind of situation, in strategic planning and resolution of conflict, what do you think is best for us to, in handling these cases, to stop some of these situations in that southeast region?
Well, as part of strategy for conflict resolution or even mediating violent conflict, sometimes you need to engage. First of all, you start by using the neutrals, and then you engage the principal actors on both sides to sit down so you can have a round table discussion. Now, were it not for the criminal action that has already been instituted against Kanu, I would have advised that the federal government should call Kanu through whatever ministry, call Kanu and have a word with him. But it may seem that the southeastern governors have had the first meeting with him in which there seemed to be an agreement in some sort and which they are supposed to build on it. That is the first step. Now, at federal level, it is dicey. If the federal government, for example, calls Kanu now to dialogue with him in order to find a lasting solution, what it then means is that let's assume that the federal government reaches that conclusion. What happens to the criminal trial that Kanu is standing, before the court of law? Should the federal government interfere in the judicial act of the state to get him acquitted? That is another thing. But nothing stops the federal government from taking the proactive step of engaging the people, because as it stands, the agitation seems to be gathering momentum. It is just too late to assume it is, in fact, to prove that it is genuine, which is the reason why the army is there. And if care is not taken, there is going to be a reprisal effect. For example, in other parts of the country, there are people who honestly believe they are being marginalized. They also are looking at the situation and can tomorrow begin to say they are going to agitate.
Right.
So
let's allow Dr. Sam Amadi to give us a final thought on the matter now. Dr. Sam Amadi, online, offline, we're seeing a reprisal effect of this. We're seeing a dovetailing effect into some other parts of the country. In terms of political leadership and the way to go, what would you suggest? If you can give us your submission in about 30 seconds before we go.
I would suggest quickly, Mr. President calls the governors of Southeast and the traditional rulers, if the case be, makes a clear case that, look, I am for protection of life and property in Southeast, because it's about trust. People feel this is a form of perhaps ethnic cleansing. People feel all kinds of rumors everywhere. So the president can take charge, make a statement, commit the governors to go back and say, people in Southeast, be peaceful, no reprisal, don't attack military targets, don't attack Hausa Fulani or Yorubas or just nobody. If the governors extract that commitment, Mr. President makes a statement, assures everybody, and then initiate a withdrawal of the troop. First and foremost, it's unnecessary. Look at it this way. If it's aimed at Cowan and Owen, and they said it's a parade or a show of force, it's not going to work in the long term, because these actions, all these videos of drowning, will be a mobilizer for IPOB. Look at what happened in the U.S. When Bush went on those mindless clampdown, they went back and discovered they need to fight for the hearts and mind of the people of Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan. So the president should take charge now, bring back the troops, and say, look, this is not about cleansing, and the governors go and speak to your people, assure them no reprisal, let's now walk back. Then
Dr. Sam Amadi, I'm afraid we need to go. Dr. Sam Amadi, former chairman of NEC and a constitutional lawyer, lecturer at Bayes University, and of course our friend, Mr. Daniel Boala, member of the Lincoln Inn in London, a lawyer based in Lagos. Thank you so much, in Abuja rather. Thank you so much everyone for the program tonight. I'm Sean Akimbaloye. Bye for now.